Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at this word that's used over 100 times in the New Testament, part 6. The word we're looking at is mello. It means about to, like something's about to happen. So let's look to see where it's found in the Bible and see what it says. I've gone over multiple times how this word actually means something about to happen. In almost every instance, I would say it's something that's literally about to happen, something very shortly to happen within a few days, weeks, months, or it could even stretch out to something a few years, but not 2,000 years. That's too crazy. It's something that's imminent, about to happen. So the passage we're looking at today is found in Matthew 20:22. It's actually the context of the mom of James and John, the two disciples, coming up to Jesus and saying, "Hey, I want my sons to sit on your left hand and right hand on places of authority in the kingdom," is what she's talking about. And Jesus replies and says, you don't even know what you're saying when you ask these things. And this is where our main text comes into play when he says, "You do not know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink?" So what's this cup that Jesus is about to drink? Well, we know that this cup is the cup of God's wrath. We see that in Luke as well. When Jesus goes into the garden on the Mount of Olives, he's out there praying. It's when he's praying blood. It's a pretty intense situation. He's actually praying that, "Hey, if you're willing, Father, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." Because Jesus knows the cup he's about to drink is the cup of the wrath of God, the full wrath of God for the sin of all mankind. That's a pretty intense, heavy burden Jesus is about to bear. That's why this cup is so significant. But Christ did this so we could have a way to know him, to be saved. That's the beauty of the gospel. Christ bearing all of our sin on his shoulders, taking the full wrath of God so that we may know him. And what it seems like Jesus is talking about here is he's not just pulling this out of thin air, this cup that he's about to drink, this wrath that he's about to take on. He's actually pulling it from Isaiah. It's found in Isaiah 51. And this is actually about Jerusalem and salvation coming to Jerusalem. And when we're going through this, we got to see that the context of this is judgment. It is wrath coming upon the rebellious Israelites because they were not obeying God. They were going to other idols. There's a lot of different things that were going on, but bottom line, Israel was constantly sinning against God. So in Isaiah, it's written that they need to wake up. He says right here in Isaiah 51:17, wake yourself, stand up, O Jerusalem, you who have drunk from the hand of the Lord the cup of his wrath, who have drunk to the dregs the bowl, the cup of staggering." So right there, it's showing that this is a cup of wrath. They are experiencing the wrath of God. Why? Why is the chosen people of God experiencing the wrath of God? Well, because they were rebellious towards him. They were acting apostate. They were disobeying him. And they were supposed to be a light to the nations, but they kept squandering their gift. And honestly, we're supposed to be the light of the nations now as Christians. And how often do we squander our gifts? So let's not look at these Old Testament Jews as, silly or inferior. How could they do that? We do that all the time too. So let's take the log out of our own eye before we take the speck out of theirs. And to continue, in Isaiah, verse 22, it says, "Thus says the Lord, your God, who pleads the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken from your hand the cup of staggering, the bowl of my wrath, you shall drink no more." Well, he just said that they're experiencing the cup of wrath. Well, what's this? Well, he goes on to continue to say that salvation is coming. Right here, the Lord's coming is salvation. And this is actually talking about the second coming. It's the coming of the Lord is what brings salvation. If we look through this more, that's what we see. It's not just his first coming, it's his second coming, because with his second coming, that's what brings in the atonement for sin. People like to say sin was removed at the cross, but that's not true. It was started to be removed at the cross, but it wasn't fully removed until the Day of Atonement finishes, which is, I would say, 70 AD at the second coming. Even in the Old Testament, if you look at what the Day of Atonement was, there was 3 different processes. There was always the sacrifice, then the priest would go into the temple, into the most holy place, which when Jesus entered the most holy place, as we see from the New Testament, it was heaven. He died on the cross, sacrifice, he entered the most holy place, heaven, and the atonement would only be complete when the high priest exited the holy place. Oh, when does Jesus leave heaven in the Bible? Well, at the second coming. So salvation fully came, the atonement was fully completed when Jesus came in the second coming, and that's kind of the point I'm getting at here, but I don't want to digress too much on that. My point in saying all this is that the cup that Jesus was about to drink was the wrath of God. And it's very clear that Jesus was about to drink this, because this is taking place very soon before the triumphal entry, and then soon after that he's betrayed by Judas, and he's crucified. So we know he's very soon about to suffer from the wrath of God. So that's a short video on the word mellow, which I hope I'm making my case, a pretty solid case, that this word mellow almost always means something's about to happen. And I pray this has been enlightening for you and educational, and make sure to check out the other videos I did as well, so you get a better understanding of Mello and continue to see the pattern as we go through it. And if you want more information, I'd totally recommend looking at people like Don Preston, Michael Sullivan, William Bell, Zach Davis, Travis Drum, because they do a lot of great stuff when it comes to this full preterist position that I hold. And Don Preston especially has been going through the Day of Atonement very recently. He's actually wrote a book on the feast days. Totally recommend you look that up if you don't or haven't already. Thanks for watching. God bless.